So when I was saying the Mother's Rosary this morning as part of my routine, I started thinking about something. There are 3 reasons why we pray. And, some people, they're like, oh, the word prayer. Here's the thing, pagans do it, animists do it in some form or fashion. I think the majority of anybody that has a belief system does it. We do it in different ways and have, our own rhythm to it, but it's still prayer. So most people think about it from a devotional aspect. It's just devotion. It's us, giving and moving with whatever guide, divine deity that we're talking about. But that's only one part of what prayer does. If you have a good prayer and you pay attention to the words and stuff, part of that are lessons. There are lessons, things to incorporate within ourselves, things to understand more deeply. It's within the words that we're speaking. And here's the one part of prayer that I don't think most people really think about, but it rewires your brain. So when you are speaking words out loud and repetitively, it is triggering and doing new connections within your brain to connect to the ideas and the aspects within the words. It's just biology. I mean, if you've studied the brain and how all this works for a really long time, you understand, this is just what happens. This is how we train our brain. It's how we rewire our brain. It's how we're continually making new connections in our brain. When we speak our prayers out loud, this is where that really comes into play. I mean, you can say it in your head, but when you talk in your head, it is not as powerful because you have a lot of crap that goes through your head all the time. And your brain doesn't really, hold on to it, pay attention to it, keep it as something important. When we speak, we are creating outward vibration through the mechanism of our voice, but we are also telling our brain that this is important. We're speaking this out loud. We are putting this out there. Thus, it's important. I grew up in a Catholic household and a Catholic school and stuff. I'm not Catholic, if anybody is wondering. But I grew up in that environment, and I remember having to memorize all the prayers and stuff, and then it became mechanical. You don't even really pay attention to what you're saying and stuff. You're just kind of going through the motions and repeating. And maybe that's just me because it wasn't my religion and I didn't believe in things that they believed in. But anyway, it was still something that we were speaking out loud, and it was still something that we were wiring our brain with. The words we choose for our prayers, whether we're creating them and writing them or whether we're using somebody else's, it's really important to think about what it is we're saying. What is the context? What is the meaning behind what is being said? Because you're ultimately training your brain and wiring your brain in that way. And so as I'm going through and I'm doing her unity rosary, the first part, so the first 3 beads of it, the first prayers that are said, really are talking about, her aspects in her 3 colors, her white, her black, and her red. Talking about, the pieces that are her. And since November is her black month, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things in her black to kind of show you this context. So in her black, her first prayer, the setting prayer, it's Lady of the Bones, Mother of the Black. And it talks about your cloak shields those that call to you. She's the protector. If you call on her, that's what she does. Your scales tip in the favor of those who seek justice with love and need in their heart. Again, not vengeance. We're talking justice and talking about how, she will help and, help create pathways for the people that actually have true need. You hold the world in your hands, for you are the web of its creation. She is the beginning and end of everything. She is the web itself that connects us, that energy. Thus, she is the one moving the strings. That's why she can create pathways for us, because she can move those strings, create the pathway, and then we just have to walk it. I really want to get into the decade aspect though, because this really kind of shows what I'm talking about when we're talking about prayer that is not just, praising and devotion, but that is for us. It is our movements and changes within that devotion, within that bond between us. So in her decade beads, give me the strength to embrace my shadows and transmute them into the instruments of my victories. It's a lesson talking about, you know, our ability to take our weaknesses or take the things, the parts of us that we may not particularly like, and how to transmute them to be something for us, something positive, something to help us, instead of them being this negative thing within us. Give me the courage to stand strong in the storms that threaten to consume me. She walks with me. And because she walks with me, that gives me a little bit more courage, doing it even though I may be afraid of it, because I'm not alone in it. Show me compassion as I show compassion for others. It's not just give me compassion. It's not just show me compassion. It's show me compassion reflective of the compassion I am showing to others in my life and in my world. Show me how to destroy for the purpose of new creation and peaceful lives. Not destruction for destruction, not violence for violence, but a destruction in order for a new creation to emerge, in order to create peace and harmony within our lives. Her prayers aren't prayers of bow down and worship, and she doesn't care about that. And any of your guides really shouldn't care about that. If your guide is so hell-bent on worship and not the lessons within that, then either A, maybe you are perceiving this wrong and you are putting that label upon them and thus that movement, or maybe it's not a good guide, a good deity to be working with. Just my opinion. But in my experience, our guides are there to walk with us, to help us, to give us lessons. And that's what's in her rosary. It's all about lessons. So when I'm saying this, I'm reframing and rewiring in my brain, thinking about that, giving me the strength to embrace my shadows, my dark sides, my weaknesses, and finding ways to transmute them into the instruments of my victories, to use them in positive ways for myself, and the path I am walking. There's all kinds of ways to look at that. I just wanted to note this because think about the prayers that you're saying. What are they giving you? What are they giving the bond? And how are they changing you? What are you possibly rewiring your mind and your brain for? What are you incorporating into yourself? Are you just kind of static going through motions and saying prayers that other people have given you? Or are you really, looking deep into the meanings of those lines and what that means to you and how you move within that? Just something to think about.